By radiation method. So we have seen that in this technique we are using the different wavelengths of energy spectrum, and we are using those waves for the sterilization purpose. Okay. There are two type of radiations for the sterilization: non-ionizing and ionizing. Okay, so infrared and ultraviolet are non-ionizing radiation, and just a minute. And X-rays, gamma rays, cosmic rays, these will be ionizing radiations. Now, these all points we have discussed in our previous class also, ionizing and non-ionizing radiations. So, on non-ionizing radiations, these are hot sterilization. And these radiations have very low frequency and very long wavelength. Okay. And the example is the infrared, UV radiation. Those all are non-ionizing radiations. And if you compare them with the ionizing radiations, these have the high frequencies and short wavelength. And the example of these are the gamma rays and the X-rays. Okay. This part we have finished, in which we have seen how the ultraviolet radiations, they are acting to kill or inactivate the microorganism. And how they are killing the microorganism, that also we have seen that they are destroying or disrupting the nucleic acid. And how they are, what effect they are doing on the nucleic acid, that is the dimerization. Can you remember that term? We have done this, dimerization. Thymine dimerization. Do you remember it, that we have discussed it in the last class? Say yes or no. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
So can you recall that we have discussed this term thymine dimerization by ultraviolet light sterilization method? Ultraviolet radiation that we have done in the last class. Do you remember that? Any one of you can say? Chalo, no problem. I will start from the beginning only, but we have very few time left. No problem. I'll start now. So ultraviolet radiation, now we are doing the sterilization techniques by the radiation process. Okay. So in the radiation process, first radiation, that is a non-ionizing radiation that we are discussing, is the ultraviolet radiation. In this radiation, here the disinfection is taking place by using the short wavelength of light. Now what this is doing, what this ultraviolet radiation is doing, actually it is a very, this radiation is very weak penetrating power. So this can be used for the surface sterilization. Now, how this is affecting, how it is killing the cells? For this, it is disrupting the nucleic acid. And how it is disrupting the nucleic acid? It is making the thymine dimer. Here you can see. You all must be aware of the nucleic acid structure, a basic structure of DNA, where you know that this DNA, 4 bases are present: purine, 2 purines, 2 pyrimidines. where you know the base, they are, how they are connected with each other. The bonds, hydrogen bonds which are present between these bases. Okay, so they all are connected with each other. They are paired with each other like AT2. Adenine is paired with the thymine with the double bond. Then GC3, guanine is bonded with the triple bond, 3 hydrogen bond with the cytosine. So this way you can see that when the ultraviolet light is absorbed by the nucleic acid, what is happening here? The thymine, which is here you can see this thymine will form a dimer. So in place of one base thymine, there are 2 bases. So what has happened? The structural change is there. So because of this disruption in the structure, all the mechanism, all the functions which are to be done by the DNA will not be there. So no protein synthesis will be there, no replication will be there. All the processes will be stopped. So the cell will be killed. Okay, so this way this ultraviolet light will kill the microbial cell. Now here you can read this point that it is electromagnetic radiation with the wavelength shorter than visible light but no longer than X-rays. Now this absorbed energy can result in defects including pyrimidine dimers. These dimers, they will prevent the replication or they can prevent the expression of necessary protein, resulting in death or inactivation of organism. Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
So this was the mechanism, how it was working, like how the ultraviolet rays are working on the microbes. Now we will see there is one more point that when here. So this ultraviolet germicidal radiation or this irradiation can be coupled with the filtration system. This point also we have discussed. Like here our laminar flow, here the high efficiency particulate filter is there in this instrument and UV light is also there. So when 2 mechanism for the sterilization is present, then it is more powerful. And these are the some examples, or you can see these are the UV lamps. These can be used for the sterilization. Okay, so here you can see this is the hospital area where the sterilization of overall all the surrounding environment is taking place with the help of these UV lamps. Now, the effectiveness of this UV ultraviolet radiation that depends on. So there are several factors which will on which this effectiveness of radiation will depend. Firstly, it is the duration of microbe that is exposed. So what is the duration? That also will depend. I mean, for how long it is exposed. For how long the organism is exposed to the UV radiation. Secondly, the intensity. Third is the wavelength. Then presence of particles that can protect the microbes from the ultraviolet light. So ultraviolet radiation means if any other things are also present which can protect the microbes. And third and last point is the microorganism itself, its ability to withstand the UV exposure. So these are the different 4 factors which will determine the effectiveness of the ultraviolet radiation. Let me come back to the class now. 24 are there. Yeah, please tell me how many of these points are clear with you all? Complete ultraviolet radiation is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So what we have seen here, these are the radiation in which these are non-ionizing radiation, penetration power is very less. So mostly used for the surface sterilization. Here we can, the mechanism of action is the disruption of DNA. And disruption of DNA is done because of due to formation of dimerization of the pyrimidine. So when the dimerization is there, structure of the nucleic acid is changed, that will result in the further activities of DNA, no replication, no translation, nothing will happen. So the cell will not be able to survive. So this way, this is the ultraviolet irradiation. Now coming to the next type of sterilization technique, it is the infrared radiation. So infrared or IR, it is a thermal radiation. Okay. So thermal radiation means what is happening here? When it is absorbed, when this wavelength of is particular wavelength is absorbed, what it is doing? It is converting this energy to heat. That is why it is called as thermal radiation. So now this heat is used for the sterilization purpose. Okay, so again we will read this point that infrared radiation is a thermal radiation. When absorbed by some articles, its energy is converted to heat, and therefore it is known as radiant energy also. Now, this will not be, this infrared radiation sterilization require one complete instrumentation. So for that, this instrument is having a tunnel. Okay, so in this there is the source, there should be the source of IR. So infrared radiation source should be there and one tunnel must be there. This complete instrument, all this comprise of. Now what is happening during the sterilization process, what is happening? The instrument and the glassware are kept in the trays, are passed through this tunnel. Just read this till here only. Because we have in the instrument there is one tunnel and one infrared source. So all the things which need to be sterilized, they should pass through that tunnel. And how they are passing? That is after keeping them on the conveyor belt. So you all know the conveyor belt, you all must have seen it like when we are going out at the airports or the railway station. So you can see the conveyor belts are there. So where you put your luggage, it will move from one place to other, or many places you must have seen for the checking also, they will put your purse or your things for X-ray checking, okay. So that time you are keeping it on a conveyor belt. So like that only, just imagine one instrumentation. Here you can see this is a big instrument. It's like a tunnel inside. One side there is a IR source and the things which we have kept it, they will move on that conveyor belt. Now what is happening? Everything is happening under the, everything is we are doing here at the in controlled conditions. And what are those control conditions? That is a controlled speed and controlled exposure. Okay, so this is the IR radiation where the instrument have one tunnel and one IR source. It's a thermal radiation. This energy is radiant energy which is used for the sterilization process. So the things to be sterilized, that will be kept on a conveyor belt. It will be exposed now inside the instrument at the temperature of 1800 degrees Celsius for 17 minutes. Okay, so this is the temperature and this is the time inside the instrument which is required for completion of this sterilization process, and thereby achieving the sterility of the instrument or whatever we have kept for sterilization. Okay, so this is the infrared radiation. Clear? Now this is where this IR is used, infrared radiation. It is applicable for mass sterilization of packaged items like syringes and catheters. Okay. So after non-ionizing radiations, we have come to the ionizing radiations. That infrared was clear with you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Now coming to the ionizing radiation. So ionizing radiation, what is happening here? In these cases, we have gamma rays. So gamma rays, this, because every time we need one energy source. So for the gamma rays, what we are doing, we are using one radioisotope. And that radioisotope is cobalt-60. So we are using cobalt-60 for this type of sterilization process. So the gamma radiation process uses the cobalt-60 radiation to kill the microbes on variety of different products in specially designed cells. Gamma radiation is generated by decay of cobalt-60 with the resultant high energy photon being an effective sterilant. That means what is happening here, we are using the radioisotope cobalt-60 which is getting decayed, and after its decay the photons, high energy photons are coming, and these photons they will be used as a sterilant. Okay, so this way you can say that how the gamma rays are, how gamma radiations are used. Gamma radiations, because here we are using the radioisotope that is cobalt-60. So the decay of cobalt-60 will take place, and with the result of this decay, high energy photons will be produced. And these high energy photon will be used for the sterilization. So everything again here they need a big instrumentation where we will do all these type of irradiation sterilization activities. So what's happening again, I will say it again at this point, that cobalt-60 a radioisotope is used for this radiation process. Irradiation or this decay of this cobalt-60 will produce high energy photons, and these high energy photons will be used for the sterilization process. So this high energy proton, you can say they are the effective sterilant. Okay. So the key characteristic of the gamma irradiation is high penetration capability. Very important point, like on the ultraviolet light, ultraviolet radiation, we have seen that their penetrating power is very less. So they are used for the surface sterilization only. Now when you came for this gamma rays, what has happened here? They have very high penetration power. So because of their high penetration capability, they can sterilize the things, or their target can be the products of very high density also. Okay, because they can penetrate through that. So what we have seen in the gamma rays till now, that we are using the cobalt-60 radioisotope for this sterilization. This cobalt-60 is decaying, and as a result the high energy photons are used. The key characteristic of the gamma radiation is high penetration capability, which allow the delivery of target radiation dose to the areas of product that may be high in density. Okay. Now again, this is the unit how we are expressing this radiation, the dose. Now what are these different factors like density, size, dose rate, exposure time, and facility design? So these factors, they will how the sterilization will depend on. Now what is happening during the gamma ray sterilization? Here you can see this is the DNA structure. So the radiation damage to DNA. This gamma radiation, it will do two things, either of the things. One, it can break the hydrogen bond, and by this it will break down the bacterial DNA or the microbial DNA. And secondly, it can inhibit the bacterial division also. So these are the two things by which the cell will not be able to survive. And that is how they are sterilizing or they are killing the cells. So now we will see it here. The gamma radiation is a physical means of decontamination because it kills the bacteria by breaking down the bacterial DNA and inhibiting the bacterial division. Energy of gamma rays passes through a hive equipment, disrupting the pathogens that cause the contamination. These photon-induced changes at the molecular level cause the death of the contaminating organism or render the organism incapable of reproduction. So what is written in these points? Here only this much is written, that this gamma radiation will kill the bacteria by breaking down its DNA or by inhibiting the bacterial cell division. And everything, since it is happening at the photons are produced here due to decay of cobalt-60. So these high energy photons, they will induce these changes at the molecular level, and that means molecular level means DNA level, and they are causing the death of the cell. Okay. Now this is again, it is saying that it is very having high penetrating power, and it can go through the very dense particles also. Now gamma radiation process can effectively treat a wide variety of products composed of different material with varying density, configuration and orientation. So these are the certain example of the product that can be sterilized by using the gamma radiation. Medical devices, pharmaceutical combinations, so all these things are there. Now coming to the advantages and disadvantages of gamma radiation. So first advantage which we have seen, that it is having a very high penetration power. So the materials that can be sterilized after filling them, so it is having high penetration power. That means it will penetrate, it can sterilize, it can penetrate the substance of high density also. Second point, it is suitable for all type of material, whether it is dry, whether it is moist, whether it is frozen. So gamma radiation will work in all those types. Third is the bacterial and viral vaccines can also be sterilized because its exposure time is very short. So these are the certain advantages of the gamma radiation. Now coming to the disadvantages of gamma radiation, if you see, since it is a radiation, so exposure will be there for the workers. So its exposure is very harmful. And sometimes what it is doing, it is causing some undesirable changes to the products also. So these are the two disadvantages of the gamma radiation. So till now we have seen the advantages and we have seen the disadvantages. Now let me come back to the class. Yes. Am I clear to you all these points? So till now we have seen ultraviolet, infrared and gamma radiation. Are these three clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we will just recall again. First May what we have seen, UV radiation, less penetration power. It is doing the dimerization of the nucleic acid. Thymine dimer is formed, so disrupting the nucleic acid and kill the cell. Second, we have seen infrared. In this, we have seen that the high temperature it is thermal radiation. Then it is killing the cell. We are doing it on the conveyor belt. We are processing it, and for 17 minutes, 1000 degrees centigrade temperature. So it is killing the microbes. Third, we have seen the gamma radiation, where we have seen it is very important as it is having a high penetration power. Okay, so and cobalt-60, a radioisotope we are using for this. So the decay of this cobalt-60, this is going to produce a high energy photons, and these high energy photons will be used as a sterilant for our purpose as a sterilization. Okay, so these were, and the advantages and disadvantages also we have seen. Now coming to the next type of this. Microwave sterilization. So microwave sterilization of the food, it is a thermal process and performed by passing non-ionizing microwave radiation, and this is the frequency. Now microwave radiation frequency used in the food industry is in between the common radio and infrared frequencies. So this frequency is in between the common radio and infrared. Microwave heating takes place due to the polarization effect of electromagnetic radiation at the frequencies between 300 megahertz to gigahertz. Okay. Now what is happening here? Here what is happening here, under inactivation of the organism will be there. Okay. So when the inactivation of the microorganism will be there, so it will increase the shelf life. If the food is there to sterilize, then increase the shelf life of the food. If we have kept anything that is to remove the microbes, so that will be achieved by inactivation of the bacteria. Now the last is the sonic waves. Okay, just let me check once. Ultrasonic is there, yes. So sonic waves or sonic vibration. This is also important. So you all must have heard the ultrasonic, sonic waves, all these are the infrasonic. So which are audible, sonic, not audible, infra and ultra. Okay. So sonic waves can be used as a bactericidal agents which employ ultrasound. So ultrasonic waves we are used for the as a bactericidal agent. These ultrasound can be used with just water and okay. The explanation for the antibacterial activity of airborne sound waves on a physical basis is based on the possible transformation of acoustic energy into heat. Now what is happening here, the acoustic energy is formed. Okay, in the vibrations, the energy that is produced when we are giving this frequency radiation, what is happening, the acoustic energy will be there, that will be converted into heat, and this heat will sterilize. So impact of airborne sound differs with the medium as the absorption of the acoustic energy. Okay, as the sound wave propagate through the, okay, now here firstly we need to understand ultrasonic vibrations which we are using. What is happening when we are using the radiation of that frequency, what is happening, the acoustic energy is there, and this acoustic energy will be converted into the heat, and on the basis of the different media, the energy or the acoustic energy absorption, that will also differ. Okay, on the basis of the media, that will also change. So in the ultrasonic radiation, what is happening, we need to understand that certain terms, that is, first is the acoustic energy. So antibacterial activity is because of the conversion of acoustic energy into heat. This heat will be used for the sterilization. Now we will see what is happening here. As the sound wave propagates through the detergent solution, these ultrasonic waves produce alternating tensile and compressive force that oscillate, and then oscillating forces cause million of, okay. When you pass, just I'll show you the diagram. This is the detergent solution, and it is an ultrasonic device. When you are passing the ultrasonic waves through this detergent solution, the high energy acoustic waves, high energy sound waves, what they will do? They will oscillate, and these oscillating forces form the millions of microscopically sized cavities. So when you have transferred the ultrasonic waves from this device to the detergent solution, you can see numerous millions of microscopic bubbles in the liquid. Okay, these are produced because of the high frequency sound waves. Now what will happen? These bubbles, they will rise in their size, they will maximize their size, and once they reach their maximum size, they will collapse, and once they collapse, once they burst, what will happen? High energy hydraulic shock waves will be formed. Now these hydraulic shock waves, which may reach the temperature as high as 10 to the power of 4 Fahrenheit and hydrodynamic pressure as low as 10 to the power of 4 psi, they physically loosen and remove the microorganism and other adhering debris from even the most inaccessible surface of the contaminated instrument. So this is just to show you how it is working. Now what has happened, when we have passed the ultrasonic waves through the detergent solution, we have seen the bubbles are formed. So these are the microscopic micro bubbles. These are in millions of numbers. Now they will increase in their size, and once they reach their maximum size, they will collapse. And because of the collapse of the millions of these bubbles, due to the acoustic energy, what will happen? High energy hydraulic shock waves will be produced. These hydraulic shock waves, these waves will result the temperature as high as 10 to the power of 4 degree Fahrenheit and the pressure 10 to the power of 4 psi. So because of this increased temperature and this pressure, because of this, the microorganisms, they will be removed. Why? They will be killed. And this way the sterilization will complete. So this way, because of the product, because of this so much high heat and this pressure, all the microbes which are attached to those surfaces, they will loosen and they will be removed after killing. Okay. So in the last diagram, it will be clear. It must be a little blurred for you all, but I can say, diagram is visible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is just to show the ultrasonic waves. Like we have produced these waves through this detergent solution. As a result, so many millions of the microscopic bubbles have been formed. They grow in their size. Once they reach the maximum size, they will collapse and the shock waves will be produced. These shock waves, as a result of very high pressure temperature, these will remove or they will take out all the microbes which are present there on all those surfaces, inaccessible surfaces, and kill the microbes. Okay. So the antibacterial activity of airborne sound wave is directly related to the sound intensity, period of irradiation. So these are the different factors on which the sterilization depends. These sonic waves are found to be effective against bacterial spores. Then all these are the different factors on which the this radiation, ultrasonic radiation depends. Now, where these are used, this method is routinely used by the healthcare facilities. So all these are it's a different uses. Okay. So I hope till now we are done with the ultraviolet radiation. We are done with our gamma radiation, ultraviolet, then infrared. These are the ionizing. Then we have seen these both are the non-ionizing radiation, ultraviolet radiation, thymine dimerization, infrared, conveyor belt, and we are treating it 1800 degrees centigrade for 17 minutes. Then we have seen the ionizing radiation, gamma rays, where we have used the cobalt-60 radioisotope. This radioisotope was producing the high energy photons, and these photons are used for because of their high penetration power. So these are also killing the microbes by disrupting their nucleic acid, by breaking the bonds, and the cell division also they are inhibiting. Then we have seen the microwave sterilization. Then we have seen the sonic waves, where how the waves are produced. Acoustic waves are produced. Then acoustic waves, what they are doing, they are producing the hydraulic shock waves, and these shock waves are used for the sterilization. Okay, so this was all about your irradiation process, and that we have seen. Am I clear to everyone? All the points we have discussed today is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now coming